Hello, family, friends, and fans. I'm Fletcher Rhoden, and this is the Wendy Theory, track by track. It's part of my series, Fletcher Rhoden Track by Track, where I go through my albums and discuss them track by track. Every little mini series installment, such as this one, which play on consecutive days for the length of the album, will have a song link underneath the video. So if I'm discussing a song like The Wendy Theory, which I am today, there'll be a link to it underneath the video. You can also go to the overview video. Every installment has an overview, and that has the full playlist on it. So you can check that out. Okay, this is 2023 release of the Wendy Theory. And the first song is called The Wendy Theory. It's the title track. So, what's to say about this song? First of all, it's two songs, really. I like the song. It was originally called Why Wendy Why. And for this album, I was just in a pop mood. I was feeling good. I had just bought a condo. I was enjoying recording and I was feeling kind of spirited. I decided I didn't really want to perform comedy as much as I was thinking about doing it. So I was just embracing the recording. Yeah, I realized at a certain point that I'm just hiding away from society by just recording. I realized that. I didn't know it at this time. But at the same time, I'm an artist. And artists spend their time doing their art, painting or dancing or sculpting or music or whatever. And that's the artist's life, is to spend a lot of hours embroiled in focused work. It's also a trait of the Sigma personality, the lone wolf. And artists are often Sigmas. Sigmas are often artists because that's what it takes to be an artist, hours of focused work. So I've been doing hours of focused work, and I stumbled from, I was doing comedy novelties, rock and roll comedy songs, and I, I just stumbled into this pop territory and realized essentially halfway through that I wasn't doing comedy anymore. I was just making a pop album, but it had a certain comedic snark to it. They weren't comedy, but they were, for pop songs, they were funny ish. And so I thought, you know what, and I'm not going to do comedy, so let's put the comedy on hold and let's focus on the pop. So what the heck? And my home studio was getting a real poppy sound, a real polished sort of sound, which is good. I liked it. It suited this kind of music. So I went ahead and put my focus into writing and completing this album around middle of 2023. Actually, closer to the beginning than the end, around March. So and it opens. So I was doing pop stuff, and I knew that it was gonna have a Beatley sound, because you can't do a power pop album or pop music really, especially not of this sort, without admitting that there's a Beatles influence to it. And frankly, because I grew up as a Beatles fan, I learned a lot from them, but I got away from them too. And I don't really listen to the Beatles for fun, you know. Uh, and I don't. There's not a ton of them in my music, but there is some Beatle influence in my music. Can't take the Beatles out of the kid. Once it's in there, it's in there. So I decided for this music, I was just going to embrace it. I was just going to go for it and not be self conscious about it being a Beatley sound or not. Because if it's pop music, it's going to have that sound, at least the way I do pop music. So I just embraced it. I didn't fight it. And this song, it started with Why Wendy Why, half a song, that sounds to me just like it's off of uh, the Beatles' second album. It was released in America as the Beatles' second album. And it would have been on that, almost just after Meet the Beatles. It's got that early Beatles sound with the. But then again, so does Rome by B-52s. So anyway, I had this song Why Wendy Why. It was good, but it could be stronger. And I also had this song called 365 Days from way back, decades before, Well, I had this terrible, terrible love relationship with this woman named Sabrina Barshesky, and she really threw me for a loop, threw my whole world into a tailspin. And this is one of the songs I wrote about that relationship was 365 days, which was good, but I couldn't remember the verse. And it was good, but it wasn't really good enough to be its own song. And I was hesitant to get to revisit that period of my life. Turns out I did it plenty for this record to good effect. So I decided to take 365 days and Why Wendy Why and put them together. And this is a technique I often do. I didn't invent doing it, but I do it often. It gives a song kind of a mega feel, like it's not just a song, like it's a movement, like it's a more like a Broadway approach or an operatic thing. It's more like the Who would do it, a rock opera technique would be just, you go from one song, verse, chorus, bridge, and then just go into another song. Why not? And then come back to the first song at the end of it, and it gives it kind of an epic feel. And it was something the early Beatles wouldn't have done, and it takes it out of, oh, this is just an early Beatles style song, because it doesn't just do the 3 minute 10-second format. It goes beyond, and it tells you that this is going to be a dark pop experience. It's going to be more than you expect. It's going to set you up for expectations and then overturn them, and it will be interesting and intriguing. So won't you listen to it? So that's why it's the first song. I called it the Wendy Theory. I named the song after the title of the album because I knew it was going to be called the Wendy Theory. And why Wendy Why? I just didn't like it as a title. That was the title of half the song, and I wasn't going to call it Why Wendy Why slash 365 days. I just called it the Wendy Theory. And that title works, and the song works. It's not my favorite song on the record, but it is the perfect opener for this record, and it sets the stage, and it's pretty strong. So I like it. I'm happy to share it. There's a link below. Check it out. Then maybe pop back in and tell me in a comment what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? I'm happy to hear your opinion. I'll respond in kind. So be kind. Anyway, enjoy it. This is the first song in this consecutive analysis. We're going to do this song by song, day by day for the next week or more. So tune in again. And until then, bye, Mary.